It is 7:05 and I'm calling the meeting of the Development Review Board to order. I'm Maya Hasagawa, I'm the vice chair, and I will do the opening remarks. We only have one person here, but anyway, you'll have to listen because it's the procedure. Sure. It explains the procedure. At the DRB, we hear applications for land development in the town of Brattleboro and appeals of zoning administrator decisions. Procedurally, the Development Review Board operates on the record. Broadly, this means we take a clear record of testimony from the applicant and any interested parties and then issue a written decision with our findings. Applicants and members of the public should be aware that as we are on the record, this is your opportunity to comment on and provide evidence relating to an application. In the event our decision is appealed to the environmental court, the court will not take or consider additional testimony at its hearing, but it will look at the evidence from our hearing, the regulations, and determine if the evidence supports the findings and decisions of this board. Only interested persons that participate in this proceeding may appeal a decision made by the board. So I strongly encourage all of you to speak up at this hearing. So you're going to present, so I know you're going to talk. As we are on the record, we are going to ask that you affirm that your testimony will be truthful. So would the applicants and anyone wishing to speak to an application please affirm the following? Okay. I hereby affirm that the evidence... Oh.
Yep.
He doesn't have
Right hand up. There you go.
Okay. I hereby affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalty of perjury.
I do.
Applicants require a majority vote of the full board to succeed. That's 4 votes out of 7, and I think we have 7 people, so. If we do not have a full board present to hear your application, then we will consider a request to continue your application to the next public meeting. After taking testimony, the board will close the public hearing and may vote on your application. The board will issue a written decision within 45 days of the close of the hearing. While we may vote on an application, it is the written decision that controls the timeline for an appeal. It should be noted that the town of Brattleboro is a party with an interest in land development applications. The town does not have a special status before this board. Documents provided to the board by the town planning department, town attorney, or other town departments will be considered in exactly the same way as information from the applicant and all other interested parties. Okay. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 18th meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Excuse me.
Okay, everybody took the oath. Has the meeting been properly warned?
Yes, it has.
Does anybody have any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications?
No.
Yet.
I just had a question about the agenda, the number 3 item on our agenda. I'm just confused about that. Review of cases public. Did you put this on the agenda, Brian?
What's that?
The number 3?
Could you read it to me?
Review of cases / public hearings to be reviewed under the Brattleboro land use regulations as warned on October 12th, 2015? Is that just a...
Yeah, that's the standard. That's what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's-
so the applications.
And that just, the date refers to when those land use regulations went into effect.
Exactly.
Okay, it just caught me off guard with that date.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry about that, Madam Chair.
I am going to appoint Ian to hear all applications.
That Ian.
That Ian.
He's the alternate Ian.
Ian too?
Whoa. I don't know.
Good Ian and bad Ian.
Oh, good.
We're on TV, guys.
So it goes.
People will find us very entertaining. Okay, are you Deborah
Yes, I am.
Tamosh?
Tramposh.
Tramposh. Okay, will you take a seat up at that table there?
And the nature of that microphone is so that the television can hear you.
I wasn't ready for TV.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nobody warned me about that.
Okay.
Okay, can you talk to us a little bit about your project and what you want to do and?
Yeah. First of all, I'm losing my voice. I've got some lung thing, something moved into my lungs, I guess, and I work with children. You know how that goes, right? So germs are everywhere. So my voice is going, so hopefully it'll stick with me for a while here. So I purchased a duplex on Western Avenue. Excuse me, in September I moved in, and I'm from Portland, Oregon. So I drove across. Part of the reason I wanted to, well, there's a lot of reasons I wanted to move here, but part of the reasons I wanted to buy this place, which is, it's really quite a good deal and a nice place, was because the attic is a perfect space to have a small practice. And I am a Pilates and yoga instructor. Actually, currently getting certified in yoga, and I've been teaching Pilates for about 12 years or so, and also teaching yoga. But, it's a very sweet space. It's pretty small. You know, it's an attic. It's the 3rd floor. And I currently live on the 1st floor of the building, and an old elderly woman lives on the 2nd floor, but she's going to be leaving, and then I'll move to the 2nd floor and rent out the 1st floor. It's a very sweet space up there, and it's probably comfortable. I've started working on it, fixing it up. It's not a big deal. There's not much to do other than taking wallpaper, fixing the plaster. You know, it's not a major renovation. It's pretty simple. And I've already talked to the fire department, to the assistant fire chief, about what I would need to do for that part of it. It's already been done. Well, it's going to be done, but I've talked to him about it. And probably, maybe at the most, would be 10 people up there, you know, at a time, because it's not very big. So it's a small, my idea is to have a small studio where I would be the only one teaching. So it's a pretty small situation. And maybe teach like anywhere from 1 to 3 classes a day, because it's just me, so, and I'm in my 60s, so that's my plan, that's my desire, and keeping it, you know, the parking is pretty easy on the street, you know, there's plenty of parking, and like I say, there wouldn't be, who knows how many people would come to a class, but the room can only accommodate to about 10. So really, for what I'm doing. And I've got other ideas about maybe providing some kind of classes for maybe disadvantaged youth, or, you know, reaching out to high schools that have kids that could use, because I've worked with kids a lot, different ages. I work at the Montessori school right now with elementary and young kids. So maybe providing some kind of, in the future, some kind of classes that maybe, you know, there's a sort of a community pay it forward kind of thing, you know. So providing for, who knows, I don't know what the situation is. I haven't actually spoken to any schools yet. That sort of thing I'm looking at, maybe doing. Because I love working with kids of all ages, and maybe there'll be some teenagers that could, you know, be interested in yoga. So that's kind of my basic idea, plan. Not until, I wouldn't be doing it until at least the summer or the fall, so it wouldn't be right away. It's a few months off. Yeah.
So are you planning to have any evening classes?
Well, my understanding is the hours are 8 to 6. And I prefer not to teach in the evening, so I really don't have a problem with that. I like those hours. I would, however, I was hoping that once on occasion, if I wanted to do something in the evening, but it would be probably very rare, you know, to do something special or to have people over or something, some kind of a gathering on occasion. But for the most part, I don't like doing things in the evening, so I like to end by 6, so I'm good with that. Yeah.
Is this the former Dr. Avila's building?
It is,
Okay,
yes.
that's why I just
Yeah.
Googled it, so. I was-
Right, yeah, so Dr.
Okay.
Avila was an eye doctor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was practicing there. So the signpost is all still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I was wondering exactly where we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I Googled it, that's what I,
And then I guess I'm going to direct a question to the zoning administrator. The way that it just says, request for retroactive change to use from dwelling unit and office to 2 dwelling units and home business approval. So that neighborhood, so to speak, that section of Western Ave, that's there's a number of properties that are sort of combination residential
Yeah.
and office.
Yes, yeah,
I'm just
definitely.
asking him because he kind of deals
Yeah.
with that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So. And so, to me, in one sense, my mind says changing, and you can tell me whether my thinking is correct, but changing from a dwelling unit and office to 2 dwelling units, I mean, to a certain sense, am I thinking that sort of a small yoga studio is sort of synonymous with an office, in a way, for that zoning area?
Yeah, it's a smaller use, and it's kind of something that's protected by law as being a residential use, so it doesn't trigger some of the requirements that would come with a site plan approval. So,
Okay.
for instance, landscaping.
Okay. So in a certain sense, you're saying under the regulations that I guess let's call what it is, a yoga studio has, what did you say, less, is it less impact than an office?
Home businesses have less impact, so they're
Okay.
smaller scale businesses conducted by somebody living in the home, using a small portion of their home for.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I can just picture that stretch of Western Avenue, and in my mind, there's quite a number of combination office and living spaces.
Sure, there are a lot of
Fewer
businesses.
employees and stuff like that.
I see. So an
oh,
office.
she's not having any employees.
No.
I understand.
not planning on that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm just trying to get in my mind.
But I'm saying like a doctor's office would
Yes.
have employees.
Yeah, next door to me is a lawyer's office.
Yes.
Right next door.
Yes, okay, I can now understand that.
Yeah.
I just was curious as how they were related, office versus yoga studio.
But you will have, instead of having an office on the first floor, you eventually will.
It's the 3rd floor, yeah.
You will eventually move to the 2nd floor, rent the 1st floor as a dwelling,
Mm-hmm.
and then do your yoga in the
The
attic
3rd floor.
on the 3rd
yeah.
floor.
And what changes did the fire chief want you to make as far as any external exits?
Yeah, so
Two egresses.
what I'm going to be doing is putting a balcony off of the front of the building.
On the 3rd floor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that the fire trucks would have access if they needed to come, and everybody would be able to fit on the balcony. So it's got to be like a 10 by 10 balcony,
Okay.
which my next door neighbor Mitch is going to build. So, yeah, he's great. He's helpful. So yeah, I'm gonna have this balcony there, and a door, a small doorway, where it's already there as a window, and we're gonna turn it into a door kind of thing. and door window kind of thing. And so people can be able, so that the fire trucks can access that. And it's been approved by Leonard.
And
Yeah.
is the...
He said it was okay.
Yeah,
I
good.
talked to him. Yeah.
The only other question, are you having any facilities up there on the third floor, a bathroom or anything like that?
Right, so I don't want to do that kind of remodeling up there. I don't want to, take on that, I just want it to be the rooms. So my apartment, part of the reason I'm going to be living on the second floor, other than I want to, is it would only be one flight down from the third floor to the second floor, and there's a doorway right there at the top of the hallway that goes through a small room into the bathroom of that apartment. So all people would have to do if they need to use the bathroom would be to open that door, walk through a small room, and there's the bathroom. It's just very accessible. It'd be in my apartment, but I'd be fine with that. I would, yeah. So that way there would be a bathroom available.
No, that's
Yeah,
just,
yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good question. Because I think it's important.
gotta go, you gotta go.
I mean,
Do you expect people to park in your driveway also?
well, I'm personally fine with that, but I don't know, because it's a pretty big driveway and it
Yeah.
extends around the back. But because I don't know who's going to be living in the bottom floor yet. I don't know what their situation will be, is like how many cars there would be there already. So I would want to respect that. Like whoever's living there, they would need a certain amount of space. Right now, the woman that lives in my upstairs doesn't have a car. She's 93. And so it's not an issue. But yeah, so it would kind of depend. But the parking in the street is, hardly anybody parks in the street. There's plenty
Yeah,
of
seldom
parking.
use that area.
I know, so it's really kind of ideal. So, yeah.
What provision do you have for snow removal from the driveway and the sidewalk and so people
Yeah.
have access?
I'm not currently plowing my driveway, having it plowed because I'm the only car, so I just park at the end. Because it gets expensive, can't really afford it. But next year, I will, especially if I rent the downstairs, of course, I'm taking care of that. And I shovel the walkway myself at this point.
There's a hell of a bank behind the place,
Oh, yeah.
if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of place for snow.
It's down.
I don't know if it's the purview of the board, but when you sit on this board, you get to ask questions because you're curious. And my experiences with attics in some houses is they can get quite hot in the summer. And again, I know there's the whole hot yoga, but do you have
Which
any?
I'm not gonna do.
Yeah, do you have any, apparently
Yeah.
there's a type of yoga where they actually turn up the heat and then do the yoga. Is that?
I don't approve of that myself.
Well,
But I know there is a hot yoga studio in town.
yeah,
Yes.
so what I was asking you, and again, it may not be pertaining to the land use regulations, but just curious about, do you have any provisions for, perhaps there might be ventilation, it may get
Yes.
quite hot in the summer, I'm just curious to hear
Yes, so
about that.
I just had my place insulated
Okay,
by Vermont Foam Insulators. So they insulated the attic and the basement, and now the house is much better insulated,
Yeah.
so much better. So I wanted to actually call the guy and make sure that it's going to be cooler, because it's really warm now. It's going to be cooler in the summer,
Yeah.
like insulation is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
So I was going to call him and say, are you guaranteeing me this? But I am going to probably install one of those units that you put on the wall.
okay.
A
That,
split.
yeah, it's a heat and an air conditioner
Oh,
heater.
yeah, bathroom.
I was thinking about getting one of those. Yeah.
And
And there's two big windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm under the understanding
three.
that some of the ventilation fans that people, for example, put in their bathrooms are
Uh-huh.
very energy efficient. I've been told
Oh.
certain of those fans can run nearly all day, and it's the same as like running a light bulb. And so I would bring that up as a thought, that would be more of a passive way of pulling out warm air, as opposed to an air conditioning unit. So I
Yeah,
just, I
and
just bring that up because I'm curious
And
about.
I'm a fan of fans. So I prefer fans over air conditioner.
Yeah.
So I always go with that first,
Yeah.
and then if needed, air conditioner.
Yeah, I guess I just bring up the issue because I wonder if it would be
Because
an issue. you
I'm
might
very
have to
much an
deal with.
environmentalist, I'll tell you up front. So I, I always think in terms of the environment first.
So
always.
the steps up to the third floor in the front or the back of the building?
The front.
The front.
Mhm.
So it's easy.
Yeah. There's no elevator. But
And I'm remembering perhaps, because I believe my first glasses were prescribed by Dr. Ravella, but I'm understanding that the building is, in a certain sense, that the ground floor entrance goes right to a staircase,
yeah.
and then that staircase would continue on to this proposed yoga
Yeah.
studio.
Like as soon as you walk in the front door,
Okay.
there's a downstairs apartment here,
Yeah,
2
which was
doors.
formerly an
And there's the
office.
stairway, goes straight up.
Yeah.
There's a second apartment, go
Yeah.
down the hall, next stairway goes up, so it just
Okay.
goes.
Are you having any electrical work done up in the attic?
I had a little bit done because I had to have a few outlets put in that were taken off of the electrical that was already installed. Because it's already got electrical up there, there's lighting.
Mhm.
So we just took it, it was easy to just branch off of that. So there's a few outlets, because I needed a few outlets. And other than that, that's it.
So
Yeah.
Brian, is that enough to trigger having to?
It's not in the same part of the house, so I don't think there's any savings on doing,
A charger.
yeah, not at this point.
And there's a smoke alarm up there already.
And you will need a sign permit, a separate sign permit.
Oh, okay.
And I
Okay.
believe Brian can approve that
Yep.
administratively.
Okay.
We can put that in as a condition if everybody agrees that.
Didn't the doctor already have a sign there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the posts are still there.
Right, so it would,
Hang on that post,
Yeah.
I assume, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions?
Got it. I'm good, thank you.
great.
Anybody have any other questions? Okay. Can I have a motion to,
I move we approve it.
we approve the, home business permit and, I think that's what we have to approve, right?
Yeah, with the condition that a
Yeah.
sign permit is required
Oh.
and strike the electric
Yeah.
or charger outlet.
We should probably, I would say before we vote, we should mention to you that you're not, there is a provision in the land use regulations in Brattleboro, whereas some changes trigger us to require the property owner to install an outlet that can be dedicated to charge an electric vehicle.
Oh.
What's happened is your particular request hasn't triggered that requirement.
Oh,
But you mentioned you were an environmentalist, and it sounds like you may want to rent your property. So you could certainly talk to Brian, he'd give you
Yeah.
information. But the idea is Brattleboro is trying to make sure that many buildings that have renters, that those renters have access to a dedicated, am I saying this right? They have access to a dedicated outlet.
Well,
so they
the
can.
owner also.
Yeah, so we just thought you'd be
Okay.
aware of that. You're
Yeah.
not, it's not being triggered in your case, but
Okay.
it may be something you might
Yeah.
want to do for your own sake.
what if I want to get an electric car?
For example. So I just thought I'd point that out to you.
Yeah,
if
thank
that's
you.
if
But
that's
we're not
okay with
making
you.
that a condition.
Yeah.
Great, great.
Of approval. The separate
Good to know.
sign permit, and we're approving the home business.
And the change of use to
And the
two
change-
dwellings.
and the change of use to 2 dwellings.
With occasional events in the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We can all come and take a yoga class.
That might be a
Only if we
conflict.
do
of interest.
carryover.
Okay, I have 2 other pieces of business.
Thank you.
So do I get to go?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Brian will be in touch with you, you'll get something in the mail at some point, and within 45 days.
Right.
That's good, thank you.
So that there was a question about adding another condition for the, what was it, Kavanaugh decision we made last month, and
Oh, was that actually, did we make that decision in December?
yes.
Okay.
So, can I have a motion that we go into deliberative session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Okay, can we go into deliberative session for, just, will probably be 5 minutes,
So
maybe
this
10.
is where we go off camera? Oh,
Who knows? We can stay here, right, since there's nobody here?
what's that?
Do you have to vote
We have to vote
Oh,
on it.
we haven't voted yet.
Oh,
I
yeah.
apologize.
to go in?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Should we
Oh, I
vote?
forgot
Say
that.
yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Seven, I can't see.
50.
7:50, and we're back from deliberative session. And there's one administrative item that I'd like to raise, which is there any objection to moving the March meeting from the 18th to the 25th?
None.
And the reason would be that James is gonna be out of town, we know, in March, and Brian is gonna be gone.
Oh, where's your sidekick?
You mean
Andrew.
Andrew?
Andrew, yeah. Well,
Doesn't he have a
So-
title? Doesn't he have a proper
He
title?
has personal autonomy.
And he's a planning tech,
Yes.
and
yes.
he's been in the paper more than anybody else,
I know.
the planning department recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with the 25th.
So,
Yeah.
does anybody have any objection?
I make a motion that we make our March meeting be the 25th.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye. I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Even before we move.